So for week 1, I did do 7 out of 7 morning pages. So that is 7 times 3, 21 pages of just longhand stream of consciousness writing. And truthfully, I enjoyed the experience. It definitely does work wonders to just be able to offload your brain first thing in the morning, just literally anything that comes to mind. And I know for me personally, like the mornings are typically the most difficult when it comes to like having those thoughts, those inner, like that inner monologue that's a little bit more negative, and it's probably due to just be me being tired. Typically, I have noticed that I've been like remembering my dreams more and more, which is like also not something that typically happens for me. So maybe doing the morning pages has something to do with that. And for anyone who has done morning pages or like is skeptical about it or is like this doesn't work, I absolutely understand maybe your like skepticism, and even just like writing 3 pages in the morning is like a lot. I think what has helped me is that I truly do write everything that comes to mind. I mean, that is the point of it. I even go as far as like, this is a lot of writing for me personally. I don't typically write. I haven't been journaling. Like journaling hasn't been a regular practice for me in the past like year or so. So like writing longhand is definitely like new. So I do get like hand cramps when I'm like writing in my journal. So I literally will write, even if it's mid-sentence, I'll write hand cramp in my morning pages, but then I keep going. And as I said, like it really is an offload, because I'll be talking about a certain subject and then I'll like switch it and like think about, oh yeah, I need to go to the store or something, and I write that down too. It seems silly, but yeah, I've been liking the morning pages so far, 7 out of 7. So here's to hoping I stay consistent. All right, now we're gonna get into the real good stuff, the real like meat of it, and like the vulnerable stuff. So what I like about the Artist Way is that it is self-paced. Like I think probably the things that Julia Cameron is most like adamant on are the morning pages and the Artist Way, which I've done this week. But the exercises, she says, like do the ones that call you, but also if there's a exercise that you're kind of you feel resistance towards, that's probably the one that you have to do most. The Hall of Champions is essentially thinking about 3 people that were champions of your creative self-work, or really just kind of like encouraged you on your creative journey. And Monsters is the opposite of that. Anyone that discouraged you, or maybe even like said something that was hurtful along your creative journey, and like kind of discourage you, maybe even cause you to shrink as an artist, as a creative. So we'll start off with the champions. We'll start off with the good news. For this one, actually, I was able to like name 3 people right off the bat. So the first one is Miss Conant. She was my 7th grade art teacher. And she was like your quintessential, like stereotypical art teacher. She's kind of a little bit of a hippie, kind of eccentric, but a good teacher nonetheless. But she was just always very, she was a very big fan of my work. And even though at the time in 7th grade, like I didn't, you don't want attention being brought to you, she would like take my projects and like show the class and be like, look at Marissa's. And not only that, like she said she would like recommend me for like high school art. So yeah, she really like saw something in me. She really like believed in my creative potential. And looking back on it now, I realize how much that meant to me, that someone like really saw, oh, she has the sauce. So yeah, the second person I thought of was also a teacher of mine, or a professor, when I was in film school. His name is Greg Durbin. He's a much older guy, and he's kind of a character. But I just never really thought like I was on his radar, because I've always been like a reserved person and kind of in the background. But when I did get the opportunity to direct a film, he really encouraged me to direct more. He's like, I think you actually could do this more, and like I don't want you to shy away. And he said it, in his own Greg Durbin way. And I also remember this one time where I thought he was gonna like critique me, but he actually gave me something that like stuck with me, and made me like less insecure about how reserved I can be. And he basically said, you listen more than you speak. He said, that's very smart of you. And he's like, don't ever stop doing that. And basically just like that affirmation of like, it's okay that I'm on the quieter side, or I'm on the more reserved side. And if anything, maybe that reservation or being more reserved helps me to be a better observer, a better listener, and that influences my art and my directing and my filmmaking. So it was nice to kind of like get that affirmation about something that I at least used to be very insecure about being kind of shy or like reserved. It's like, actually, no, it's kind of a superpower. It's kind of a good thing. And the third one, the third person, is actually my ex, my most recent ex. So I wanted to preface this with like, I absolutely believe that whether your relationship with a romantic partner works out or not, or like it lasts or not, is like, our romantic partners are truly our greatest teachers. And it's because we are so, close to them, and like we connect with them on a level of intimacy that we don't typically do with anyone else. And I think they see us in a way that no one else does, and they also reflect in us the things that most people don't get to. And that's, I'll just use that as a preface. So I learned a lot from this relationship with this person, and she told me something that has also really stuck with me. And she was always really like a big fan and encouraged me when it came to like my creative talent, and like letting me know when I wasn't valuing myself or my talent in the way that I should be. And she was always like, would say, you're better than that, or like you're worth more than that, or like you can do better. And like I think it's important to have those people in life when like it's easy for us to like cut ourselves short. And oh god, even as I'm talking about it, like I'm tearing up, because it's like, oh yeah, I've cut myself short so many times. But anyways, like the particular comment that she made, or the thing that she told me, was, you capture people in the way that they hope to be seen. And as a filmmaker, as a cinematographer, that meant a lot to me, because whether I'm shooting, a documentary style video, or a narrative film, or even just like photos of someone, I understand like the energy that is put into a situation because of the camera that is pointed right at the subject. It changes the dynamic, right? So for her to say that to me, again, it was very encouraging to know that like I had something, and like I do have a quote unquote natural way when it comes to how I use a camera. Is like, I want there to be realism, I want there to be authenticity, and I don't want my subjects, whether they are an actor or they are someone that I'm interviewing, to feel, I want them to feel safe. And I think that was her way of saying like, you make people feel safe when you do what you love to do. So yeah, so again, you capture people in the way they hope to be seen. That stuck with me, and that continues to stick with me, and thanks. All right, now let's talk about the monsters. The Hall of Monsters. It's funny because I was only really able to like name, and like even then I don't even remember their name, but one particular person that came to mind was one of the first films I made in film school. I shot at my friend's apartment, and then he brought his friend to like the screening of it, and this friend of his was just like very critical of it. About like one scene in general, like it wasn't even like a mean spirited comment. It was just kind of like he was like kind of critical. He's like, I didn't get it, like stuff like that. And obviously that has affected me because I still remember it. It doesn't affect me in the way that like I feel insecure about it now, but it's just like I remember like just kind of like having a reaction to it, or like I just kind of feel like, oh, okay. Yeah, all I say, like, I know that was fair game, and like if you make any type of art, you're not immune to any type of criticism. So like honestly, it wasn't a big deal, but obviously it stuck with me. So it's something that I think as I took a step back and realized like why did I remember that instance or that like comment. I think the reason why it stuck out is that I think I am still scared of like criticism or like feedback. It's scary because especially the films that I've made so far, at least as a director, has had some sort of like personal connection. And so when I like put out the art, put out the film, and someone critiques it, it's like, oh, you're critiquing me. And I think that's where like the bulk of my fear comes from. I think the fear comes from too of like, am I just like not good? But I know that's something that I think most of us share. All right, the other two monsters are like not particular people. They really aren't. It's just more of like a feeling that I've gotten from like a certain groups of people in my life. So first and foremost is like there are certain sides of my family, and it's not to say they're outright like unsupportive of my filmmaking career. It's just more of like they just don't get it. Like I feel like every time I see them, every holiday, it's like I have to explain to them like certain aspects of my career, even, and especially like how do you make money, or like, oh, that makes you money. So I just feel the need to explain myself, or even over explain myself, which is like never a good feeling, right? And the other, I guess, things that have been getting me down, and this is probably the most recent one, is that like I've recently taken on a full-time job as a audiovisual technician, and so I've had to let my network know that like I need like 2 weeks in advance if you do want me to work on a project. And again, like no one has done anything wrong or bad, but like there is this feeling that I get, and again maybe it's more of like my projection onto my friend, that I feel like abandoned or I feel like forgotten, because it's like, oh, Marissa's not like just readily available, so we're not gonna contact her anymore. And again, like if any of my friends see this, like know that like I know that's mostly projection, but that's just like something I've been feeling of like, oh no, I'm gonna be forgotten, I'm gonna be abandoned, I'm gonna be left behind, which is like not a great thing to feel, but something I've felt recently. But the good thing about like pointing out these people or these feelings I've had around certain groups of people is that I realize that like there is still part of me that is scared of criticism, hence why I remembered that one person that one time that critiqued my work, right? But also both of the some parts of my family, or this feeling of like being forgotten or being abandoned by my friends when it comes to like them not reaching out to me anymore to work on film projects, is I wrote out affirmations to kind of just combat these negative thoughts, or these projections that I've been having. Is I will not abandon myself. I will not abandon my inner artist. There is no need to explain myself or justify my work or path. Yeah, and I think those are good affirmations to remind myself, because yeah, historically, I think a lot of us have fear of abandonment, but also I think part of being like a people pleaser or wanting to be liked and understood is the tendency to over explain. So I realized, those are two things I need to sit with, but also be there to affirm within myself when I do feel abandoned or do feel like I need to over explain, and realizing I won't be abandoned and that I don't have to over explain myself or my work or my path.